Remove them. Remove the Muslim element from the UK altogether.
But we have about 5 million Muslims in the UK. What would you do with them? You wouldn't let any Muslims into the country?
I just find that whole thing totally ludicrous.
I have not seen any poll in the UK which says the UK people don't want any Muslims coming into the country.
Perhaps I focused on this debate specifically to better understand Andrew Wilson's views. And for those who don't know him, he's a controversial right-wing internet personality who became known through aggressive debates, often with feminists and adult content creators, usually in discussions where there was little real balance in experience or knowledge.
And to be clear, on the Palestine march, should anybody have a banner saying, or a chant that says globalize intifada, for example, what would you feel about that?
I'm not a theologian, so it's not something that I can really speak to. I understand that the Jewish community have expressed upset when that phrase is being chanted. I actually think there are much bigger things to worry about on those marches at times. I think there have been a couple of people who have showed some anti-Semitic tropes, and actually, thankfully, the March for Palestine group have kicked those people out and have been very forceful about them not attending. I think we get really distracted by this phrase. You know, people who go on these marches are not going on these marches because they don't like Jewish people or because they do actually want to see, I don't know, an Islamic regime in the United Kingdom or whatever ridiculousness the right wing are peddling now in this country. They go because they do not like British taxpayer money being spent on bombs that are being sent to Gaza and potentially killing children. That's what they don't like, and that's where our focus should be.
Well, that's not really true. It is true in a sense that they are anti-Israel and anti-what's going on, Gaza and all that, but they're not really turning out for that reason in the UK. They're turning out because they're saying that the other side is racist. They're saying that Tommy Robinson's protest is a bunch of racists. You can read article after article of the opposition saying this. So I'm fully 100% behind these rallies. I think that they need to remove the Muslim element from the UK altogether.
Because at this point, it becomes very clear that this was never really about immigration, culture, or border policy. The moment he openly calls for removing Muslims themselves, he immediately abandons every broader argument he was trying to hide behind. This stops being a discussion about public policy and turns into something much more personal and ideological. Sometimes people reveal their real beliefs in a single sentence, and I think this was one of those moments.
That's what I would advocate for. Yes, that's correct.
What are you talking about?
Remove the Muslim element. It means no more mass migration from Muslim nations to the UK. That's insane.
But we have about 5 million Muslims in the UK. What would you do with them?
Well, the ones that are there, you can't do very much about, but you can do something about continuing the immigration policies. It's suicidal empathy.
Just to be clear, Andrew, you wouldn't let any Muslims into the country?
Yeah. Well, people have a right. They have an autonomous right to determine who comes into their nation and who doesn't. If the people of the nation don't want a people group to come into their nation, that is their right. Just like it's the right of people in Muslim nations to make those determinations for themselves as well.
I just find that whole thing totally ludicrous. I mean, if you knew anything about net migration to the United Kingdom, it doesn't come from quote-unquote Muslim countries. There are not Muslim people who are breaking into the country and trying to turn it into, I don't know, some sort of Islamic state. Like, it's simply not happening here. And I really worry about the sort of talking points that you are spouting and potentially you are reading. I mean, I live in London. I've always lived in London.
Who's your mayor in London?
What's actually incorrect, though, about...
Yeah, Sadiq Khan. And what about it?
Well, I just want to know, what's actually incorrect about me saying if the people of the UK do not want any more migration of Muslim immigrants into their nation, can you give me a single moral argument for why that's
Well, that's simply not true. Well, where have you got that idea? Apart from Tommy Robinson. Other than Tommy Robinson, Andrew, honestly, to be honest, other than Tommy Robinson marching around the airways in America saying that, I have not seen any poll in the UK which says the UK people don't want any Muslims coming into the country.
Yeah, I understand.
It's not
but
true.
That's not my question. My question is, if it were the case that the people of the UK no longer wanted Muslim migration into their nation, what is even the moral argument against that?
I am very concerned about actually Christian evangelicism that's seeping over into the United Kingdom from the United States. And I think that that is actually a source for much of our discontent. I've always lived in London and we don't have a single problem with integration between religions in the country. I've never experienced that in my life.
Right,
May I finish? Sadiq Khan has won a landslide victory on his third term. That's 3 times he has been elected as mayor of London. Now, if there was a huge problem with Sadiq Khan, why on earth would such a huge proportion of Londoners from all creed, all race,